to the Summerfield Town Council meeting for Tuesday, February 10th. We are now called to order. We are going to have a very special guest by the name of Linda Wendelken. A lot of us know her for years and years, and she's going to give us the Pledge of Allegiance. And let me give you a little bit of information about Ms. Wendelken. She served for 6 years, 7 months, starting in 1986 in the Marine Corps. Her service included the Marine Corps Air Station, Iwakuni, Japan, Marine Corps Air Station, Iwakuni, Japan, Marine Corps Air Station, Beaufort, South Carolina, 2nd FSSG at Camp Lejeune, and Marine Base Camp Lejeune. Her job was MOS was 3112, Traffic Management and Logistics. Her awards include Rifleman Badge, Letter of Recommendation, 2 times, Letter of Appreciation, Navy Unit Citation, Meritorious Unit Commendation, National Defense Service Medal, and Good Conduct Medal with 1 Bronze Star. And Ms. Wendelken, we're honored to have you. So if you'll come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we'd be, thank you for doing that. Thank you for your service.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And we usually have Mayor Pro Tem Devaney give us the invocation.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before you proceed, formality here, we need to close our last meeting, the special call meeting,
Okay.
before this one, so.
All right. I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make your motion, Mr. Mayor, to close the last meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
And who was that?
John.
Mr.
John.
Doggett.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, that meeting is now closed. All those in favor of closing the meeting, signify by saying aye. All those opposed, meeting is now closed.
You also need to make a certification of what you talked about in closed session.
Okay?
And I'll certify that we talked about those things, that I understand they're, does anybody have the?
I do.
Let me just see it real
There we
quick. To consult with an attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege and discuss real property acquisition employment contracts. I don't believe we talked about personnel matters. We did not. And as far as what we talked about, we're having another meeting where some of that is on this one, including the ANY, so we'll pick that up on the next meeting.
Mr. Manager and Ms. Anderson, thank you for keeping us on the straight and narrow. Now, invocation.
Do we need to reopen this meeting?
Okay, do we need to do that all over again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This meeting is now called to order. We do need to pledge all over, all of? Okay. We're going to go straight to the invocation.
Okay.
Okay.
This prayer still talks about being a new year, and we're not far into the new year. So think about reflection and moving forward. If everyone would please bow your head. As we stand at the doorway of a new year, we thank you, God, for carrying us through the one behind us, through the joy, the lessons, and even the hard days. We place the coming year in your hands, asking for your guidance, protection, and peace. Please cover our family with good health, safety, and love. Strengthen us when we feel tired, calm our hearts when we worry, and remind us that you are always with us. Help us walk into this year with faith instead of fear, gratitude instead of doubt, hope for what lies ahead. We trust in you with our plans, our dreams, and the people we love most. Thank you for new beginnings. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We're going to do introductions now. I'm going to start, as usual, over here on the left with our clerk.
Leah Rucker, Town Clerk.
Jeff Bacon, Deputy Clerk.
John Doggett.
Heath Clay.
Lynn Wans Devaney.
Lee Haywood.
John Hamilton.
Kyle Stalls.
Ashley Anderson, Town Attorney.
Twig Rollins, Town Manager.
Very good. Now we're going to go to the adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like
Okay,
to add the audit report to new business.
that would be 9E.
It would be under new business at the beginning.
That would be 9A.
Yep.
Okay. Do you mind my asking why we're doing that first? I mean, is there something I'm missing?
So
Mr.
that
Brewer
the
can leave.
rear auditor can leave.
Okay, so it's a time constraint, okay.
Ask that we just had an A&Y update in closed session. It's actually a really good update from the Brightway acquisition. I'd like to make a friendly amendment if we could remove that,
Remove 8A.
move 8A.
Completely?
Yep.
Yes.
And
It should be on there.
let's see, Mr. Mayor.
I don't, I don't agree.
Hang on, Mr. Clay Infant.
And put the manager council report updates, council comments after closed session.
And remove 12.
And remove 12.
All right, so can I address that now, since it was my motion, he asked to amend it?
Yep.
The reason why he's doing that is he's trying to make sure that the public doesn't hear about the A&Y. He wants to remove the A&Y because we just got an update that it looks like that eminent domain is something we're going to have to decide upon, probably soon. So I countered and said, well, if they remove my thing from the, that I have listed on there, I will still ask for an update. So he has now asked for the update to be moved to the very end after closed session so that less people will be here. I know that there are some people here who want to give public comment on that. What I think he did was not transparent. I think it was dirty. I think it was sleazy, and it's definitely not cool. So no, I don't take it.
All right, we have 1, 2,
Mr. Mayor,
all right.
may I please make a
Yes,
statement?
absolutely. This is time for discussion.
The things that were discussed in closed sessions were things that were for closed session, and we cannot discuss that legally in open session.
So that's not all true.
Yeah, it is, because
Because we asked for an update for those things that could be addressed to the public, and whether or not this council is going to proceed on eminent domain is not something that is necessarily legal advice on. That's a political decision. So that absolutely should be discussed in open session.
Any more discussion? All right, if I'm hearing this correctly, let's start up here, under 8A. Mr. Hamilton would like to remove, no, that would be, Mr. Clay would like to remove that completely.
I did not accept that.
What's that?
I did not accept.
Mr. Mayor, I think that the way, in consulting with the town attorney, you need to deal with Mr. Hamilton's motion. He does not accept the friendly
Okay,
amendment, so go ahead
Vote on it.
and vote on that. And then, if it does not pass. Mr.
okay, so
Hamilton-
instead of voting on all of them at the same time,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna take it piecemeal. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, sir. I
All
think
right.
we need to deal with Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Stahl's
Now,
second.
as far as the other amendments, I'm happy to accept the addition of the audit. I think you want to have that on there, Mr. Rowlands.
Yes, please. The auditor is here by
And,
state statute.
Right, and the location of it, I'd be happy to take that. So I do not take the 8A amendment.
My friendly amendment was in its totality.
Oh, well, then I guess I will say that I will amend my own motion to include that the audit be moved to the place where Mr. Clay said, and yeah, that's it. Was there another one that you added, Mr. Clay?
It was to remove number 10, manager and council reports to
No.
after the closed session.
We should not make people wait to after the closed session to hear that. That would, of course, no. So I only accept the audit being added, or I'll make my own amendment to have the audit added.
All right,
Sure.
let's keep doing on the A&Y then. Let's get this hammered out. All right, any other discussion on the A&Y, trail discussion? Are we gonna leave it, where it is, move it, or, remove it?
I'm not accepting.
You have to vote on it.
No, wait, is there any other, all right, he's made a motion, correct, to move it from the agenda, correct?
Who?
So you,
Yeah. Clay, and I didn't
Clay
accept
has.
his minute, yes.
So we're talking about the ANY trail discussion. Are y'all in agreement that we move the trail discussion? You are not.
He is not. and that's
Okay,
his motion.
anybody, okay, and your motion is to leave it where it is. Is there a second?
He accepted.
Kyle's-
Kyle, you seconded it?
Motion to accept
Okay.
the agenda.
Okay, is there any discussion? There has been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion as far as leaving leaving the ANY trail discussion where it is?
No, sir.
Okay. All those in favor of removing or keeping the ANY trail discussion where it is, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You have to vote on the motion on the floor, which
Then
is not,
I amended my own motion though to add the audit.
right. So the motion would be to approve the agenda as
As is
written,
with
but
the
with the
audit.
addition of adding the audit.
Okay, all right. So that superseded this, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. There's been a motion to move the audit to new business number A, and there's a second. Who seconded that?
Kyle.
Kyle seconded that. Is there any discussion to moving the auditor report? Hearing none. All those in favor of adding the auditor report as new business A signify by saying aye. Am I right?
The motion is to, all those in favor, John, will you give your newly amended
Okay.
motion? Yeah.
To approve the agenda with the addition of the audit as, and I think Mr. In 9A. So move the audit to 9A, approve the adoption of the agenda with the addition of the audit on 9A.
Okay.
And not accepting,
Not accepting
Place.
Mr. Clay's, yeah.
yeah,
Not accepting what?
Mr. Clay's friendly amendment.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's still on the floor now.
All right. Is there a second to that?
Sure.
That would be Kyle Stahl seconding that. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion fails.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor,
Okay?
to, of the following agenda items to be changed: to remove old business ANY description, to add audit in the place of the title of new business at the very beginning of new business, so Tony is able to get out here relatively early, and then have the manager and council report updates after the closed session. I know all of us would like to get out of here relatively quickly tonight, and remove post-closed session business as needed. That is my full commitment.
So are you removing 8?
All right. Let me repeat, see if I can get this right. Mr. Clay's motion is to remove or to substitute or put the auditor report instead of old business number A, ANY trail discussion, remove that, and in its place, put the auditor report in. Move the manager and council reports and updates till after the closed session, and to remove the post-closed session business as needed.
The only
Is-
edit to that is 8, old business, ANY trail would be removed.
Mhm.
That audit would be the first one under new business.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
right. All, is there a second to that?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, again, it's, what's going on is very sleazy. It's very underhanded. They don't want the people to know that we are going to use eminent domain. And there are people here in this audience today that were coming to talk on it, and I literally heard them say, "What we come for." So, folks, I'm sorry, but the people up here, they don't respect you. They do not. And I'm sorry I ran with some of these folks, but it's really sick. And I do believe that there is something that just goes to people's heads when they're up here. I want to do everything I can for you. I think if you're going to do something to somebody, have a backbone, stand up and tell them. But the people up here do not have that. And I apologize to you all.
I think it's a little too early to be talking about eminent domain. We're
We've
not
been
done-
told by Justin that it's time to talk on it. He told us
We're
in
not
there.
done negotiating.
He actually said, Mr. Snyder, can you say this in the closed session that it's pretty much time to move on?
All right, well, we're getting into closed session business now, so I'm gonna put a stop to the, whoa,
Mr. Mayor?
whoa.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I was verbally, personally kind of negatively attacked there, and that's fine. That's his opinion. he is the first man right to say that. I know no ill will, I'm not making it personal. I just want to do the best for the town and the majority of people for them. We had a really great update on ANY with easements and the right-of-way acquisition. There's more updates to follow once this contracted company converses with more of the property owners. So I'm looking forward to future meetings on this topic. So right now, there's a lot of active discussions going on with properties.
Ms. Devaney?
The only thing I'll say is that I believe the meeting was April 8th of 2025. We voted to move forward with the ANY Greenway.
And I'll say, I've even been told, and I wasn't gonna say this because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I've gotten kind of really into this a little bit because of what I've heard. The links that people are going through right now to make sure they hide what's going on. I've even heard people try to alter the language that's being given out. Instead of eminent domain, I've heard that people are using ChatGPT, trying to figure out alternative language to
All right,
conceive.
Mr. Hamilton, a lot of this is, neither here nor there. You made, the motion's been made.
I'm just here
And,
to say that we
it's-
can't be
and
transparent.
everybody's voted, we're gonna move on. We all have our own,
We
Well,
have not voted on the motion. Y'all are still in discussion.
okay. The motion's been made and we're gonna vote on it, and, there's no need for name calling. So, with that being said, is there any more discussion? Mr. Stalls, do you have anything to say?
I don't have anything to add.
All right, all those in favor of Mr. Clay's, motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
How did you vote, Mr. Stalls?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. All right. We're now at the public comments portion. Oh, no, we're at announcements and recognition. Y'all got me all screwed up here. You're fine.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a few comments. First of all, I wanted to thank all the citizens for coming out and participating in the rabies clinic. They had 175 callers come through, so thank you very much, Town of Summerfield, for participating in that. I also wanted to thank the maintenance department for the snow removal here at all of our town's properties, I'll say. And also, I wanted to personally thank Miss Leah, I'm sorry, the clerk, Miss Clerk, and also our assistant manager for being there, answering phone calls, and I just really appreciate your patience and your time that you've taken for the community. Other announcements, the urban archery deer season closes on the 15th. So, sorry guys, that includes my daughter. The Finance Committee meeting is on Monday, the 16th at 6 p.m. at Town Hall. There will be a Town Council workshop on Tuesday, the 17th at 5:30 to 7:30 here at the Community Center. The Summerfield Men's Coffee and Conversation will be Thursday, the 19th at 9 a.m. here at the Community Center. And the Founders Day Committee meeting will also be on Thursday, the 19th at 4 o'clock at Town Hall. There's a planning board meeting on the 23rd of February at 6 p.m. here at the Community Center. And the Trails and Open Space meeting is on Wednesday, the 25th at 6 at Town Hall. There's a Board of Adjustment if there's business to be had on Thursday, the 26th at 6:30 here at Community Center. And the History Committee is Thursday, the 26th at Town Hall. The Summerfield Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon will be held March 5th at 11:30 here at the Community Center. We had one last year and it was fabulous. Ms. Dockery did a great job in pulling everything together. I'm sure other staff helped her as well, so thank you very much. And then another important date to mark in your calendar is Hands on Summerfield, and that is Saturday, April 18th at 9 a.m. To be determined how everybody's going to be divided up, but just put those two dates on your calendar. The volunteer lunch on 3/5 and the Hands on Summerfield on 4/18. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
I just want to say, Ms. Dockery did a fantastic job getting all those cars moved around, because when we drove by and stopped, there's lined up on the old Summerfield Road, and she just kept it moving, so she did a fantastic job.
Mr. Mayor, I have one other announcement. The survey that's going on for the land use comp plan, we really need to get the word out. Last check, we only had 51 people out of 11,500 has taken the survey. And it's imperative, public, that you spread the news and get people to take that survey, because it's going to dictate what the future Summerfield is going to be.
How much longer do they have? I mean, or is there a
It's the
time limit?
13th.
13?
It's easy, I've done it, it doesn't take very much time, and there's places in there where you're allowed to actually comment. So write out your thoughts and let us know.
And that is on our Facebook page,
It's on our website.
website,
And Facebook.
and Facebook.
It's not on the top on Facebook.
Okay. So everybody can go to our Facebook page, which is Summerfield, what is it again? What is it?
Summerfield NC Town Government.
Summerfield NC Town Government. I have a hard time with that, but it's also on our webpage. Mr. Hamilton?
That was actually one of mine. I was just going to remind people to make sure they did the land use survey. Like you said, 51 people, that is nothing. But then again, I guess, are we going to listen to them? Then again, we've also had some more businesses open up in town. Weston Company is offering crafty experiences and do-it-yourself workshops. They're located in the shopping center with golden antiques and treasures. So that's another place here in Summerfield. You should check it out. Summerfield Stage is putting on the play Always a Bridesmaid on February 12th and the 15th. I believe a musical called Broadway Be Mine on March 6th. So another Summerfield business that I think people should be interested in. I understand that the rabies clinic was another success. I heard him talk about that. Now, I know I'm the one who brought that before the council last year, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew it was my wife, actually, Christine Hamilton, that actually had brought that idea to me. And I think it's interesting because that I told her when I was talking to her about it that we're doing it again, and that it was a hit. Her idea was, she told me actually to give credit to Don Wendelkin, who's here, because I think Don had shared a story about there being a rabies issue in the area. So when she had seen that, she said, we should hold a rabies clinic, and told me, and that's why we brought it. So that's pretty good. So, but anyway, those are my announcements.
Okay. Mr. Stahl?
I don't have any announcements now.
Anybody else? Okay, there was a lot of back and forth the last couple of weeks with the act of God that we experienced with the ice and then the snow and trash pickup. I've still got two trash cans sitting in front of my yard for the past 3 weeks. One in particular email that I got, I just want you to read what my response was, and it applies to everybody. We thank you for your input. As you know, Summerfield has historically been laggard in communicating with their citizens, most probably because of the continual infighting. Communication is a major point of concern with the current board and administration, and we are and will be taking steps to correct the problem. These things don't fix themselves overnight. It's unfortunate that this act of God took place just as we were taking over the billing for trash collection. All I can say to you is hang in there, it will get better. And I want to thank our manager and our town staff for acting above and beyond, for taking care of the phones and acting in a professional manner while we go through this. I remember when I first moved in back in 2000, I went without, 2004, I went without power for a week. Didn't have trash collection for 3 weeks. So I think it's best if we all count our blessings. Nobody got hurt, nobody got killed, and we're all here in flesh and blood, able to have this meeting. I want to go on record as saying that this discussion with the ANY Greenway was decided on April 8th, when the motion to delay it, to do some more, to investigate it some more was defeated. We are moving forward with the ANY Greenway, and so I hope when the people come knocking on your door that you will treat them respectfully. And the people on Summerfield Road, we are not your enemies, but this project is moving forward, and I just want to put that on the record. All right. Any other? Okay. Public comments. We have Steve Satterfield. Mr. Satterfield, would you state your name and your address?
Just 1 second while I get this situated. Steve Satterfield, 7620 Summerfield Road. The AY is not affecting me, but I am against taking property for eminent domain for a recreational purpose such as this trail. If it were for a water line or some type of utility, I'm okay with that. One thing I wanted to bring up, when you go to the town website, there's a link to the Facebook page when you hit the menu button. But that link takes us to the old Facebook page. Is there a way we can get that upgraded to go to the new Facebook page?
That's a good catch.
And I want to talk about my concerns with the water. Only John and Lynn were here. October 10th, 2023, Freeze and Nichols presented the water to y'all. And they talked about needing 1,000 gallons a minute flow for 2 hours, giving a total of 120,000 gallons of water needed for fire protection. They added in 15,000 on the tank for residual or reserve. And then they said we needed to double that to 270 if we were going to do potable water. Now that y'all have made a commitment to the NAACP to potentially provide portable water for residential use as well as fire protection, are you considering upgrading the tank size from the current 150 that I think y'all are considering? It also talked about the wells. The wells that on the old Gordon's Trailer Park were insufficient. They needed to be abandoned. A minimum 6-inch diameter well needed to be drilled and yield 250 gallons a minute to get us the water we needed. Have we drilled a well? Do we know what kind of water supply we have? The other thing they talked about was tank turnover. Water that goes into the tank over a certain period of time, it has to come out of that tank to maintain some type of water quality.
That's right.
Since this is only going to be for fire protection, we're putting water in the tank. It's going to sit into the lines. If the fire department doesn't use it, there's a potential for it to go stagnant, and that can cause some issues. And that's going to lead to the town staff having to flush the system, which is basically hooking a hose to a hydrant, putting the water on the ground, and in my opinion, wasting it. So I just have some concerns about that. Could we possibly, and it talks about that on page 45 at the end in the comprehensive plan. Page 45 at the bottom and top of 46, can a water distribution system be built within Summerfield incrementally? So I'd urge y'all to read that. Go back, it's on Summerfield News YouTube, is the 10/10/23 meeting where Freeze and Nichols talks about the water. And maybe y'all can touch base with them and make sure we're putting in the right size tank and this turnover interval is not going to be so frequent that we end up wasting most of this water. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Satterfield. Are you going to hang around all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to give you my card maybe and have a discussion somewhere down the road. I'm still learning about water.
Gotcha.
Okay, all right, so I'd like to talk to you. Wanda Winfrey. Mrs. Wanda Winfrey.
I'm here, I guess, to talk about
Can you state your address, please, Ms. Winfrey?
Northwest School Road.
Okay. You're good, yeah.
All right, I'm here to talk about the expensive sidewalk. I've talked to some people about what's going on here, and their words were, it sounds like Washington DC, a lot of wasteful spending, a lot of corruption. And she just didn't expect to see that in Summerfield. But anyway, I know y'all had made your decision already, but it just seems like it's not fair for everybody. And y'all keep talking about, like, they want it, they want it. But whenever I ask about it, it's mentioned like this old survey. And the new people might not feel the same. And then in the initial meeting, when somebody contacted me about the land and the email that I received on 1/28/26, both of them said that if I say no, what's going to happen next? And it was never to the effect of this might not happen. It was pretty much in the initial meeting and in the email that it is going to happen and what's going to happen if I say no. And to read the email, it says, they use different verbiage. They use eminent domain whenever talking to me initially. But then in the email, it says, voluntary donation of easements is a valuable component of the planned project success. However, there are alternatives to voluntary donation of the necessary area. And that right to me sounds like a threat, that if I don't volunteer to do it, there's another way that they're gonna take it, whether I want it or not. And it sounds like tonight, that's what's gonna happen. And I don't wanna bring up somebody's name, because, you know, I have to sleep at night, and, you know, the Lord is my Savior. But there was somebody up here on the council, and I'm trying not to look, because I don't wanna pin that person out. But they were up here at council one time, and I'll never forget what they said. Their effect was, just throw them $1,000 and they'll say yes. And I just want to say, you're going to have to take me to court, that I'm not for sale. And if that's what y'all want to do, that's what you can do. I mean, that's your choice. And just I can't be bought. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Winfrey. Are there any other public comments? Floor is open. Mr. Hamilton, if you'll approach the podium.
You got one
You do.
back. You go ahead first, go ahead.
Mr. Window, go ahead, but afterwards, will you fill out a form?
Yeah.
Okay, can you give your address?
Yeah, Don Wendelken, 3406 Windswept Drive. I would just, as an observer, recommend that you tread carefully. Eminent domain, it's a really bad word. I know previous councils have talked about that, and they said they would not do that. You know, whatever you guys decide, but I think it's important to be clear without making the appearance that there may be some additional information that may not be put out there. I don't know, but I'm just saying, be as transparent as you can, because it can raise some questions about credibility. So be careful, be careful. The survey that you mentioned, Twig. A lot of people, and I've said this, I don't know how many times, a lot of people have moved to Summerfield to be left alone. And when there's a lot of controversy or uncertainty, they just kind of stay home and stay away from all of the politics. And that's been going on in Summerfield since it was chartered. So that's, I mean, I'll do what I can to let the information out there, but the 51 out of this so far is really an extremely low number. But a lot of it has to do with the people living here. They moved here, they wanted their low taxes, they wanted a nice quiet environment, they want to stay out of all of the, any kind of bickering, whatever it may be. What else was I going to say? Really, it's just being as transparent as you can will really be beneficial to the citizens. And some of them will respond, some of them won't, but I'm just saying, be careful. Share what needs to be shared. If it's something that you're thinking about doing and you're thinking, well, this would be too controversial, you got to put it out there. People, the citizens are paying taxes, that they want our leaders to tell us what's going on, so that all of a sudden, then all of a sudden, if something comes out and they're like, whoa, what's that? Like this thing with eminent domain. What's happening, I don't know, but be as transparent as you can. That's all I got to say, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Wendell. Can you fill out a slip?
I can do that.
Okay. Mr. Hamilton?
I'm just gonna parrot some of those same things that were just said, but really, you know, we've lost 1,000 acres of land. We've raised your taxes. This is the council I've been part of. And now we're getting ready to do eminent domain. I mean, that's something that we literally fought against Phil Berger for in going on what we felt was our property rights. And that's what we're gonna do now to our own citizens. I just don't see how we can do it. And I got a feeling now that going forward, what's going to happen is that anytime I try to put this on the agenda, it's going to be blocked. I think the majority is going to try to find some way so I don't talk about it. So if I have to do it during public comments, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask that you all form a resolution. I'm asking that you resolve not to use eminent domain against our citizens. I've seen former council members, John O'Day said no council's ever said they were going to do it. Paul Lambert walked right in front of all of us and said no council has agreed to do it. That's why we're taking it out this way, because this one does not require eminent domain. It happened in 2024. I think it was the June meeting. That was it does. So I'm asking you, if you're going to do it, look me, and I'll give the mayor some credit here. He stood, he has his backbone, he said, look, this is happening, it's moving forward. Don't be ashamed of what you're doing, and if you are ashamed, then don't do it. But if you're going to do it, have a backbone, look people in the eye and tell them. Because I'll tell you what, I'm not proud to be sitting with you guys right now. If you could at least tell people what you're doing, transparency, that's the biggest thing. Otherwise, I don't have any faith in you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Anyone else? Going once, twice. The public comments session is now closed. No public hearings are scheduled. We're going to have board and committee reports. Emergency services by John Doggan.
Summerfield Fire District reported the following for January 2026. Fire-related calls 37, EMS-related calls 73, other calls 36, for a total of 146 calls. No report on how many child safety seats were installed. The Guilford County Sheriff's Department reported the following for January 2026. Total calls 244, calls resulting in case reports 15. There were no significant incidents or crime trends in the township for the month. And that is all.
Okay. Next we have, financial reports, no action. Board and committee reports, no action. I guess that's it for that, right? I don't see any others. All right, yes, no, do you have any others?
Is there anything from financial reports
I
that?
don't see anything. No?
Thank you.
Any questions? No.
No, okay. All right, we get to the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve this consent agenda as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question on 7F, approval of resolution to retro vinyl contract. Why is a contract a resolution?
So, there are some non-material tweaks we still need to work out with the vendor, and so essentially this resolution approves the selection of this bidder, solidifies all the key terms, so price would be a term, the date, the event, the services provided would be a term. There's some non-material language we're trying to work out, so this allows them to know that they've been selected as bidder while we work out the remaining details.
And then we'll get a contract later on too.
So the resolution, I don't have it in front of me, but it should authorize the manager to, in consultation with the town attorney, to execute that as approved. I mean, any material change like the date, the scope of the services, or the price should have to come back to you. But the intention with the resolution is, as long as those things don't change, the contract itself would not come back to you.
Great, thank you.
Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as is, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The approval of the consent agenda is approved. The consent agenda is approved. Old business, we've removed that. New business, I understand we have an auditor report. That would be you, sir? If you'll come on. What now? Okay. I don't have that. Mr. Tony Brewer, okay?
Well,
Thank you, Mr. Brewer, for coming
Thank
here.
you. Good to be here. Good to come back to town of Summerfield. First thing I want to do is I want to thank the board and remind you guys that we work for you. Anytime you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to give me a call. I have specialized in small municipalities under 5,000, so I've seen about everything there is to see, run across all kinds of things, and I have a unique understanding of the needs of a small municipality with, lack of expertise, lack of funds and things of that nature. So If you got problems and need my help, please feel free to give me a call. My presentation is twofold. The first part is about the numbers. And of course, these numbers are back from June, so there shouldn't be any surprises or anything that you don't know about. And the second part is about indicators. As you recall, people who's been here before, about 5 years ago, LGC changed up their system of notifying units if they had any concerns. So the second part is going over any kind of concerns that stem from the audit, okay? So for the audit binders before you, I assume everybody's got a blue audit binder. And I also handed out a guide, okay? Everybody calls it a cheat sheet, but I don't like using the word cheat. But it's a guide, okay? And what I do is I go through and I look at things that are interesting to me, and hopefully they're interesting to you, and I compare it to last year to try to give you some type of base, some type of standard to sort of see what kind of year was 25, okay? So you can either follow along with me in the blue binder, which is a lot of pages, or you can follow along here with the guide, because that's really my first part of my presentation, okay? All right, for the binders, before you start on page 1, you'll find the opinion, and the town of Summerfield received an unqualified or clean opinion. And what that means is that the finances before you, they fairly represents the books and records of the town, based on our audit procedures as of June 30th, 2025. And directly after the opinion, starting on page 4 through 12, is a section called the Management Discussion Analysis, or MD&A for short. And this section is written in a more layman's terms. It's a narrative that talks about where the town is, a little bit about where it's been, and even a little bit about where it's going. And this is a good segue to remind you that your audit is a public document. Any of your constituents can come in and request a copy. And because the MD&A is a narrative written in more layman's terms, that's always a good place to have them start, is to read the narrative and then dig into the more technical stuff. Right after the MD&A comes the exhibits, which is really the formal audit part, very technical. First two exhibits is full accrual. After that's modified accrual. After the exhibits comes the notes, and then after the notes comes the schedules. And that's where I make my guide, because the schedules is where the good stuff is. The schedules shows the detail behind the exhibits. So if you look at the exhibits, like Exhibit 3 is a balance sheet, Exhibit 4 is the income statement. If you want to know what's really behind those numbers, you go back to the schedules. On Exhibit 4, it might have one number, 500,000. You go back to the schedules and it'll tell you, it might have 5 numbers, show you where they come from, okay? So, on page 38 is the schedule for the general fund. The first thing you'll notice is that ad valorem tax collections showed a very small increase of about $6,700. Next, you'll see that local option sales tax was slightly down, about $1,600, which is basically breaking even. It's about the same as it was the year before. Other taxes, such as utility franchise, ABC distribution, beer and wine, and solid waste, was down about $123,000, and that's mainly due to the ABC distribution being down. Okay, matter of fact, about all that was from ABC distribution. So the other utility franchise taxes were basically the same as it was in '24. Next, you'll see that grants, they were up $242,000, and that's mainly due to a grant for the water development grant. Investment earnings, they were down about $98,000. Your miscellaneous revenues were down about $159,000 from last year, and that's because in 2024 you had a sale. You had a sale of land. So it makes it look like your revenues were really down, and really, in reality, your sales were up in '24 because of that one-time sale. So really, '25 is more of a normal year as far as your other miscellaneous revenues. Total revenues were down $111,000 for the year, okay? As for the expenditures were up about $507,000, and that's mainly due to increases in salaries in the general government, as well as increases in capital outlay in the general government, planning and zoning, cultural and rec, and the community services and committees departments. Now, if you want to see where those come from, if you'll turn to page 10, that's worth getting out the blue book. Page 10, because I know I'll probably get that, because really, 25 was really about capital outlay. It was really about expenditures of capital outlay. If you look at the bottom line and compare it to what you guys spent, if you look at page 10, you can see that $919,000 was for construction in progress for the park, water project, and the trails, all that combined. So that's almost $1 million just in those 3 different capital projects that you got going on. $38,000 land improvements, $33,000 for equipment, and $123,000 for vehicles. So really, 25 was very heavy in capital outlay, which leads to your bottom line. Revenues were less than expenditures in the amount of $898,000, and that's versus $280,000 the year before. Okay. Another point of interest is your unassigned fund balance. It calculates to about 197% of current year's expenditures compared to 195% in 2024. And your unassigned fund balance, I like to do an analogy. Is in our everyday life, we call that our mad money. We know how much we're going to get paid, and we know how much our bills are, right? So we know how much we're supposed to have left over that's not assigned to something, right? We call that mad money in our everyday life. So LGC, when they look at that, they want to look at how much funds do you have that are free from having to pay this or this or this or this, that's restricted. And they look at that and say, well, we've got this much that's not assigned to something else or not reserved to something else. And how much do we spend in a year's time, right? So you come in at 197, which means this: if you kept spending at the same rate that you spent in 25 and didn't collect a dime, you could stay open for 2 years before you ran out, right? So what does that mean? I mean, how does that compare to others your size? I mean, what does that mean? How much are we supposed to have? Well, the answer is it depends. It depends on how big you are. I think for a unit your size, 34% is the minimum that LGC is going to put up with. They'll say, hey, if you get 34%, it's going to throw a red flag. I think an average for a municipality your size is about 71%. Average. And you guys is at 197. Okay. Now, is that good or bad? Well, the answer is it depends. It depends everything on what do you have going in the future, how much do you need now, how much do you need to save up. That's why your job is so hard. Is how much do we need to spend? How much do we have to spend? Right? It's sort of like a municipality is like a church. It's not trying to retire. What's worse than a poor church? A rich church. So what's worse than a poor town? A rich town, because you're trying to take in money to improve the community, right? Whether that's services or roads or whatever. Parks is a great, wonderful thing. So, what's the use of having millions and millions of dollars and having bad roads and nothing for the kids to do in the park? Right? It's kind of useless to be taking tax money without making the community better. So you can't put your hat you know, as people, we go through life thinking, well, let's hold on to everything so we can retire. But the hard thing about being in running a town is you're not trying to retire. You're trying to make the place a better place, right? So the answer is it depends. Depends on what you got going on, right? Another point that I think is really great about Summerfield is your collection rate is 99.72. Y'all are probably used to that, and I'm not. I'm really not. That's really saying something about the community, about Summerfield, about the people who pay taxes. 99.72. That's almost 100%, right? I never see that. I might see 99.2. I might see that the state average is 97. Right, so y'all are 99.72, which really helps y'all during the budgeting process. You know, you got your evaluation, so you know you estimate. You figure out how much do we think we're going to get in. Well, if you're right at 100%, it really helps you. But if you know, I go places that are smaller and their collection rate's 95%, they're like, well, we're going to get it or we're not. So it makes the budgeting process harder. So that's a pat on the back for the citizens of the town at 99.72. I thought that was really interesting. So that's my first part. That's a 30,000-foot view. There's a whole lot more to it, but those were the parts that I thought were very interesting. So if you got any questions about the numbers, I'll try to answer. None? Okay, let's move on to the second part.
Sir, any town is supposed to have, what, 3 months reserves?
Yes.
Or what, I mean,
Well,
minimum of
minimum. Yeah,
3 months reserve.
Yeah, you don't want to say, well, we're supposed to have 3 months. Well, that's minimum.
So we've got 2 years reserves.
Right.
Okay.
That's called unrestricted fund balance. It's
Right.
not really reserve. It's what we call mad money on a day-to-day basis. So you're continually spending money, but you're also continually bringing money in.
Yeah.
So, you know,
It's funny you bring up mad money. I was just talking to my wife the other night. Mad money used to be when your father sent his daughter out with some money in case the date they got in a fight
right.
and she could get home on her own.
That's
So
probably
you-
where it came
yeah,
from.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bother you. But it's minimum of 3 months is what I've always been
Right.
told.
Right. The main thing is that you want to look at your health, and you use that. You know, I do a lot of calculations for people who've got, especially when they got projects going on, because they don't have the expertise of saying, okay, how are we going to project this out in the next 5 years? What kind of shape we're going to be in if we spend down payments are notorious for it. Because sometimes people say, well, let's put $500,000 down. Well, if you do that, you're getting rid of all your cash. But if you don't do that, you got to borrow all that money. So then it's hurting you. So there's a way there to where it's not worth spending your cash, and it depends on how costly the loan is. Right? But if you spend all that cash, it's going to just kill your unrestricted, right? So it could put you in jeopardy in case of emergency happened and you had to spend a couple $100,000 on the road, right? Because once it's spent, it's gone. You don't get to get a refund. So you have to be careful before you spend lumps of cash to make sure that you can replenish it in case of emergencies. That's all. It's the same thing we do in our daily life. Same thing. Any other questions? All right, the second part.
Where are we at?
The second part, if you look at on your handout right here, see this right here, it's got the blue at the top. All right. LGC, if you recall, they used to hand out, used to be 4 pages, and it was real pretty. They had these real nice graphs and everything, these colors, and they really explained stuff. And man, they really got good at it, and then they just quit as soon as they got good at it. But if you recall, 5 years ago, LGC will no longer be sending unit letters. For years and years, when we sent an audit, LGC would go through all the calculations and everything, and if there was a problem or they thought there was a problem, they would send the unit a letter saying, oh, this looks like a problem. What is your plans to remedy this, or such and such? Well, they always complained that when the town got bad enough in financial straits that they had to have a visit. They would go to the town and have a meeting with the town, and the boards would say, that's the first I've heard of it. You know, so many boards, because, you know, boards change constantly, they're changing. And boards would say, well, we didn't know we was in financial trouble. So, you know, they always complained about that for years. So 5 years ago, they done something about it. So now, it's the auditor's responsibility to, in front of a public meeting, is to go over your indicators and let you know that if you have any indicators of concern, that you have 60 days from today to answer that indicator of concern. Got to be signed by a majority, not everybody, but a majority of the board. So you got 60 days if you have any indicators of concern, okay? So, if you turn to the one that's got the blue on it, anything that's red is an indicator of concern. On the very first page, you'll notice that it says right here, number of financial performance indicators, and it says 2025, it says 2. All right, now, yes, technically it's 2, but really it's just 1. Because the town only had one indicator of concern, and that has to do with your finance officer's bond. 2 years ago, the law changed. It used to be $50,000 minimum, and they changed it and said, hey, $50,000 minimum or 10% of your budgeted expenditures capped at $1 million. So basically, if you had a $10 million budget, $1 million is as high as you can get. If you had a $15 million budget, $1 million is as much as you can get. But you can't go below 50, right? So that was 2 years ago. Well, in 2025, if you'll turn to Exhibit 5, that's going to be page 18. Exhibit 5, page 18. You'll see here, see where it's got original, final, that's your budget, okay? And you just have, what's going on here is you just have one budget, okay? When really you ought to have more than one, right? So you guys budgeted, see the expenditures there, you budgeted $10,411,000, and you budgeted a $1.4 million transfer. So together, that's $11,800,000 of your budgeted expenditures. Now, you made your budget by $7.1 million, right? But because your budgeted expenditures is $11.8 million, then your finance officer's bond should be at least $1 million. And your finance officer's bond was $504,000. You can see that in the audit, which is plenty enough to cover a normal year, and really plenty enough to cover what you actually spent, because you made your budget by 7.1. So really the problem was you guys was doing this budget in cultural and recreation, in general government. You were budgeting for those capital projects in the general fund instead of breaking them out and putting them in a capital project, because the capital project, a multi-year budget, is not included in the calculation. And that's just because this is all kind of new, right? And, you know, I think I had 7 this year that done basically the exact same thing because of the capital projects. They said, well, I would rather budget it and not need it than to need it and not budget it, right? Because one way you're going to have the law of overspending, which is great that you budgeted for it, but where you get caught is you raise that budget that much, you got to be careful with your bond. So what I'm trying to do with my boards is let them know that, hey, if you're spending money on a capital project, first thing it's got to click in your mind is, oh, what about our bond? Because now your bond is tied to your budget, your budgeted expenditures, when before it wasn't. So if you got a $2 million project going on, and you're going to budget in your general fund, you should think, oh, what about our bond? And I had several of them that voted on these capital projects in May, 1 month before the year end. Well, they're already, as soon as they said, okay, and they hit the gavel and approved it, they just broke their bond. So that's all been discussed, and you guys that's the only indicator of concern. Now, the reason it says 2 is because, number one, didn't qualify for a bond. Number 2, it's the state statute. So that one thing makes 2 indicators. So you have 60 days to answer that, and we've already had a discussion, and it's already been taken care of, and on the process of upping your bond. Just going forward, look at your budgeted expenditures and ask, take your budgeted expenditures times 10%, do we have enough bond? So that's what's happening. So that's the second half. Anybody got any questions? Got to answer for you.
Anybody?
Well, thank you, Mr.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
That was excellent.
Yeah, well,
I think last year I told you, and I still mean this is the best. I got 22, and this is the best town hall meeting I've ever been to. Last year was the best one, and this is the best one this year. No, it's not, because, this is America. This is a tough job. It's for the people and by the people. Y'all getting down to it and working things out and hammering things out and arguing this point and arguing that point. That's what it's supposed to be.
you should be in sales.
No, I told you last year, what's sad to me is when I go somewhere, because, the citizens of Summerfield, they're passionate about their community, right? Now, y'all come from the community, so y'all are passionate about your community. Y'all care about it, right? What's sad is when I go places that are in terrible shape. I mean, they're terrible shape. They don't have anything to offer their citizens, and you come to town meeting and nobody says nothing.
Well, these people are gonna say something.
Well, they should.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
should. They should. Everybody should. And that's what makes community strong. That's what makes me feel like American. When I come, I'm like, yeah. I mean, forget about, the mad at each other. I'm just talking about the debate itself is what makes for a good town.
We're all a family here, and we're all a family.
Brothers and sisters
Absolutely.
fight hard.
That's exactly right. Have you been called by Dave from, have you gotten a call from Dave Bullock?
From,
The auditor, state auditor.
oh, no, no, I'm not gonna, no. No, I don't wanna, no.
He's going around all the towns and auditing, and I just wondering.
Well, good, well,
Yeah.
good. He
Yeah.
get his feet wet and he'll find out.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, and I want to thank Mr. Twig. I'll meet you halfway. I call him Mr. Rollins and think I offend him, but I call you Mr. Twig. And Miss Kelly, I mean, they work real hard. And Mr. Bacon, Miss Rucker, I don't think I've met you yet, but they work so hard trying to get things together and done a really good job. And I know it's Miss Kelly's first full year, getting better. I asked her if, she's getting in her stride and she's making her own. And, the best set of books is her set of books, not mine. She sees them every day. So they're really working hard at trying to take care of the finances, to report to you a clear picture, so that you can make decisions. That's what it's about. So, thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Based on that, I move that we use Mr. Twig going forward. Second,
He's heard worse, I'm sure.
here, actually.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You can hang around if you want.
That's okay. Y'all might hold it back.
That ain't gonna happen.
If y'all don't have any questions of the finance officer, I had her here in case y'all did, in addition to Mr. Brewer.
How much did you pay him?
$3,000.
We're very fortunate to have you.
Yes, worth so much more than that.
Yes.
No, to have you.
He is very reasonable in his fees for us.
Well, I think you meant that as to get those good comments.
Yeah.
He was joking.
The indicator actually that Mr. Brewer spoke of, Ms. Kelly actually caught that herself and upped her bond before that. I do want to call attention, it's not a typo, Mr. Mayor, that it says Mayor Sessoms. When he did the audit, Tim Sessoms was the mayor, and that's why it's
I figured
in
that out, yeah.
the cover sheet. But we do need a motion to accept the
The audit.
24-25 audit. Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the 24-25 audit as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're on to approval of planning board and, GOS, what is that? Trail and Open Space Committee applicants. That's Devaney and Hamilton.
So, Mr. Mayor, we had several applicants for the planning board, and we also had one applicant for the Trails and Open Space. So, upon that, I would like to break it out into planning board, Trails and Open Space, and Board of Adjustment. So my first motion is I would like to seat Greg Fox in the empty seat. That's where Kyle was sitting, with the alternates being Mr. Bill Donnell and Mr. Don Wendelken.
And that's gonna be for the planning board?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So did you move that?
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay,
I second.
Okay, by Mr. Hamilton. Any discussion? All those in favor of that, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries.
Okay, the
There's
next,
only two alternates?
the next,
Is that what y'all want?
motion that I want to make is for the Board of Adjustment. And I would like to make the motion that we seat George Lothian on the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And then the next one for the Trails and Open Space Committee, I would like to make a motion that we seat Chris Patrick on the Trails and Open Space Committee.
A second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And before you move on, of course, Mr. Wendelken is here, but Mr. O'Donnell is here. We have George Lothian back there. Is Chris here? Chris Patrick? Can you see my glasses on? Is he here?
He's not.
Oh, okay. So, welcome.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget to get, some of you actually have to be sworn in. So I think the Board of Adjustments may be in the planning board, so make sure you don't forget that and have that done.
May I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I would just like it noted that the term would start immediately and finish for the planning board. It's a 3-year term finishing in 7, 8, 29 and July 2029 for the planning board members. And then the Trails and Open Space, it would be, I believe, 2-year term and finish in July of 2028. And then the Board of Adjustment, I beg for forgiveness, I can't remember if it's 2 years or 3 years. Okay, we're looking that up.
Well, he was, so you want to have Greg Fox into his spot for the remaining term, so.
It's 3.
If 3 years, okay, so the Board of Adjustment would be from present time until July of 2029.
Lynn, I think the attorney wants to tell us about maybe changing
Yeah, so,
Fox's term.
Mr. Fox is going to fill the remainder of Kyle's term, Mr. Stahl's term, so whatever his original termination date would be.
July 28th.
Okay, all right, so I just want to make sure. Sorry.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't always line up so nicely.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Fine.
And if that's the case with George Lothian going on to the Board of Adjustments, does he take the remainder of Wendelkin's?
Yes,
Yes.
So
So-
your appointment would actually end this year, but then obviously,
it,
yeah.
it ends in 2027, so it would be 30.
Now, Linda's term ends this coming July,
Yeah.
the 26th.
So you're in
26.
somebody's spot,
7th, July 26th.
and then we can redo it.
Right,
If he's taking her.
he's
Yeah.
taken her
Yeah.
place, so we would have to reappoint him in July. I apologize, thank you.
He should, yeah, he'd be eligible to reapply whenever that period
So
comes.
just send a copy of what you already have to us one more time.
Our faithful clerk is wonderful, and she will help to do the due diligence of sending out the reminders in May so that we have everything straight for July, so we don't forget.
And
Thank you, Ms. Clerk.
we're also thankful for everybody that applied for it. Just because we haven't chosen somebody yet, I mean, again, we're very honored to receive all applications from everybody.
Anything else on that?
No, sir.
Consensus policy, Mr. Hamilton.
Oh, the consensus policy, that was
We have
mine.
another-
Forgot Laughlin.
Steer Laughlin's ahead of that.
Oh, Laughlin.
Yeah.
Oh, it sure is, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Approval of Laughlin Steering Committee.
So
Jeez.
last time, Mr. Stalls and myself were appointed, and we're in the process of collecting applications for the Laughlin Steering Committee. We'd like to have a 9-member committee with 2 seats held by council members and 1 seat held by the town manager, a 3-year term. We're estimating that this is a limited term, it's not a forever committee, so it would be 3 years. Having monthly meetings on the first Tuesday of the month at 6:30. And Ms. Clark, I have this written out, and I can share that with you. That would be helpful. With that, meetings being 1 to 1.5 hours with a hard stop at 8 o'clock. The location of the meetings would be at Town Hall. And then our goals, Mr. Stalls, do you want to jump in, or you want me to continue?
No, you keep rolling. You got
Okay.
it.
Our goals would be establish a vision for the school/property of Laughlin. Explore steps for the historical preservation of the school. Solicit further public input and assist with the project coordination. And then we will just come back to the town and keep you updated on what's happening each month.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Think of another, I think I got an email, there's already people wanting to serve on the steering committee. Do you know how many we have?
2.
2 already?
2 official.
Okay, should be a good committee,
Yes, sir.
a fun one. Okay. All right, now consensus policy, Mr. Hamilton?
That's just me really wanting to formalize our method of consensus. I think things have fallen through the cracks some. Even some like our meetings, and I've talked to most of you about this. I think one of our meetings was rescheduled, and I know I wasn't any part of that discussion. And of course now it conflicts with something else I have. What we used to have was an email that we went out to everybody, and we would just sort of respond to that email, and that way consensus could be collected that way. I think a recorded consensus would help us. It would also give transparency too, in case anybody wanted to ask about it. So, I move that consensus be taken through electronic communication, email going forward.
Talking about as far as
Whenever there's anything.
intercommunication between council members?
Well, obviously, it would be Twig that would collect it, so my motion is that the manager collect consensus through email. And that way there's a recorded consensus.
For things that are on the agenda or concerning what?
Anytime that the consensus is needed. So, like for instance, before, if a date was canceled, Scott would send out an email and say, how many want to do this? Or if something was rescheduled, how many want to do this? Or, if we're going to direct anybody to do anything that's not a vote formal action. And I think that it just makes sense to have something that's formal, so that way we know that everybody got asked and that everybody participated, and that and anybody who wants to look at it can with transparency.
Any town business?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a vote.
I want to just add one point as you consider this in your discussion, and we've talked about this before, just as general good government policy, be very careful about that you don't run afoul of the open meeting laws and have any sort of discussion. I think
Yeah, so it'd be all
you
done
can't-
quick.
right, yeah, you cannot avoid sending emails to everybody, but y'all can control what you respond to and how.
Yeah, so Twig would actually ask all of us, I wouldn't be responding to Devaney or Clay or Mr. Stalls here, it'd be with Twig. And like I said, it's nothing unusual, it's what we used to do quite a bit, and I think it worked out rather well. And I think with everything going on, I think it's easy for Mr. Rollins to let things fall through the cracks with us, and I think that way it'd be a formal way of almost like a checklist for him too, and for us to make sure that nobody gets left behind with that stuff.
All right, this is a discussion. Are you
That
in
was
the process of making a motion, or is this something you want added to the agenda, or?
No, I moved for it. It was I moved that consensus be things that are not in actually open session or closed session, but things that are out of a regular meeting when consensus is needed. I move that consensus is collected through email by the manager.
Okay, is there a second?
And this would primarily be for scheduling.
That's usually, I think most things are going to be, like if it's anything substantial, it has to be like a vote. So we couldn't come in here, we couldn't do consensus for things that should be, formal votes. It would just be primarily those things that consensus are normally done with.
All right, what kind of discretion would he have deciding what is put out to the council members? For instance, all right, well, I'll use an example, the retreat scheduled for the 21st.
That should be.
This is something Twig pretty much did on his own, which is fine. But are you saying that should have been put out for consensus?
Yeah, historically, when I look back on the previous things, and again, everybody does things differently, but, before Mr. Rollins, even the retreat was placed on the actual agenda itself so we could discuss dates in open session and figure it out. That's my recollection of it. And I think that probably it's a good thing to do that going forward. So I can call each one of you and I try talking to everybody a little bit about stuff, but the only way to do it is right here. And I think I've talked to everybody, Mr. Rollins, I've spoken to you, Mr. Doggett, Mr. Clay, Mr. Devaney, Kyle here. So, this is the only way I think that we're going to be able to hash out how we make things so that everybody gets included on something and that nobody falls through the cracks.
It would save a lot of miscommunication, that's for sure, and a lot of late night phone calls. I'll just leave it at that. But that's for y'all to decide.
And that takes a lot of burden off of you too, because that way you can say, well, that's what you said, that's what I got.
I'll second that.
Is there a second? Okay.
I'll second that for discussion, sure.
For discussion or
It's
to
always-
implement it?
It's always go to second and go to discussion.
So my point on discussion would be that, I feel that Mr. Rollins should be able to talk to each one of us and whatever the subject matter is, get our opinion, and then email the majority has decided X. And that way we don't get into violating the open laws.
Well, it wouldn't violate the open laws for him to email each of us, or for us to email him what we want.
Yeah, but what happens that one time
I don't
that
know.
it's been accidentally you hit reply all?
Well, he wouldn't.
I admit I've accidentally done that. So everybody knows where everybody would be.
Well, then he could email everybody and say, these are the three, Lynn, Clay, and Doggett, you know, that I want it, and it's the meeting. So that way, at least we know who the folks are.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it sounds like y'all are having two different discussions, and one is on how to collect consensus.
Yes.
And one is on confirming consensus, and for the purposes of making a motion moving forward, I think you should address whichever of those you feel,
So
but
that mine was
you're
a collecting
conflating them.
consensus. If they're collecting, again, the manager will collect consensus of the council through email.
The only problem I have with an email, sitting and listening, is that if it's a time-sensitive issue, that if you're in the middle of something, you may not hear your email go off. You're more apt to hear the phone go off or a text go off. So I wouldn't limit it to email.
Well, I mean, if it's a time-sensitive issue, I mean, obviously those things can, you know, there's always exceptions to every rule. You know, I'd say, I mean, I can't, you know, things like the, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, things like the meeting that's a month away at the time, I mean, that would surely be fine through email. But I mean, as long as, you know, I think there should be some recorded collection of what the consensus is. So there's no question about who was asked and who wasn't.
Actually, on that point that you both of the mayor and you used Mr. Hamilton, the manager actually asked all of us to respond with what our open dates were.
Well,
Verbally.
That, I'm thinking at one point I hadn't, but I do know that there has been occasions, and I don't really want to go through them, but if you're saying you don't want the consensus policy, just say that.
There's, to my knowledge, there's no policy attached to vote on, so I guess the direction would be to adopt for the manager to present a consensus policy at the next one, unless you want to write one now real quick.
Well, I mean,
I'm just.
I mean, it was basically a sentence, but yeah.
Spirits of efficiency.
Well, then I'd direct him to, I mean, I move that, I think I've already made a motion, so I think it'd have to be, I guess I can withdraw it, I think that's perfectly.
To me, sounds more like a communication policy
Yeah.
between the mayor and the council.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. And is there an easier way to do it? I mean,
Well, I would just say that, the discussion is on, the agenda item is labeled discussion on consensus policy, and I think it would be appropriate for you to give guidance to the prospective staff member on how you want to move forward, whether that is a formal adjustment policy, a new policy, or just some sort of internal, informal procedure that y'all, governing council would like to be communicated with.
Mr. Mayor, would you just go down the road and see if people are interested in having a formal consensus
I
policy?
was getting ready. Or if we want to put it under advisement and discuss it for a future date. I mean,
And because like I said.
all right, let's go down here to Mr. Doggett. Is there any interest in creating a policy or more discussion even?
I'd like to have a little more discussion at a later date, so I have more time to think about it.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I am in favor of having some form of consensus policy. I think what Mr. Hamilton is saying makes sense, but I too agree with Mr. Doggett and our attorney that I'd like to see it, a rough draft of a policy, so it's out there, so it's not just this council, but future councils will know exactly what to reference back to. So I am in favor, but I would like to be able to see some sort of draft and for us to discuss it and hammer it out.
Mayor Pro Tem Devaney.
I would like more time to think about it.
Mr. Stahl.
I would like more time to think about it. I do think we need to offer the manager, if he is going to explore policy, we need greater specificity as to what this policy is actually about, not just broadly agenda or broadly consensus, but maybe scheduling consensus and any other. That's the only one that comes to my mind at the moment. I'm sure Mr. Hamilton has some other things in mind. But if we could give him some more specificity in exactly what the policy would pertain to, I think that would ease his job.
Would y'all mind if I reach out to other mayors
That'd be great.
and find out what they're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let me do that. And
But this is between the council and the manager.
Well,
I know, but what are other towns doing? That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And other managers too. Okay.
And yeah, so I think that'd be great to see what other folks do. Yeah. I don't know, I mean, I said a couple of things there. I don't know if, when I said recorded collection, I almost think some folks might have got nervous about that. So, if there's something you don't like about it, give some direction to Twig so that we can come up with something And, yeah, Mayor, you don't need consensus from us to talk to other mayors to see what people do. So,
I don't know, just being nice.
thank you, Lee. But do it.
I think that just in the interest of efficiency, you know, it sounds like everybody wants to have some more discussion, but if you have like certain expectations of the manager or other staff in the interim, I think some direction should be given there, whether that is waiting to hear back from y'all, putting it on the workshop, but I would just suggest kind of figuring out what the next step is before you move on from this, so there is a consensus, if you will.
All right, can we put it back on the agenda for next month for further discussion? Can we do that?
Could each individual think about it and email suggestions to the manager, and then he can compile everything and kind of get back to us?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, discussion at a further date pending feedback from, Mr. Manager.
Well, is that going to be on the agenda next month, or is?
Well, we should decide that.
If you can
We-
get something
yeah.
that quickly, yeah.
Okay.
So I got a motion.
Well,
out
that can
there.
be added at any time. I guess.
So I've got a motion out there. I don't think, did anybody second it?
What was your
Yes.
motion?
It was
I second, but then I thought
You
you said you
withdraw.
retracted it.
So well, I didn't say, I said I could withdraw it. So it's out there, so I'm gonna let it die. If no, I'm gonna
We
let.
need to withdraw. What was
Well,
the
I'm
motion?
actually not gonna withdraw it. I'm gonna keep it where it is. And so that way, at least that way it's out there. So you just need to call a vote.
Well, what was the
You have
motion?
a second.
I move that the manager collect consensus going forward through email.
Okay, is there a second?
I already seconded that one.
Okay, you did, didn't you?
Yep. Now-
And that was our discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Nay.
The motion
I
fails.
can't,
All
I
right.
can't vote aye without knowing more specifically what we're collecting consensus in regards to.
I know, I just thought it'd be
So that's it.
good to finish that.
Yeah, we gotta finish it, we gotta run through it.
All right. Discussion preliminary findings, the resolution. This is Manager Mr. Rollins.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is concerning the Laughlin school property, and I'm going to let our town attorney explain exactly what this findings resolution is and why the need of it is to be passed by this board of y'all's pleasure.
Was that included in the packet?
I don't have my packet. I thought it was. I don't have that.
We don't have an ID.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in mine either.
Because the numbers got changed, it was,
Should have been 9D.
oh, it
moved
should have
it
been 90.
There's no-
There's nothing in there.
There's nothing in here for 90.
No.
And I must have been waiting for it.
I don't think that is supposed to be on the agenda for, let me look at the financing calendar, and my apologies for not catching that when it came out.
What was the resolution again, Mr. Manager?
It's a preliminary findings resolution concerning the financing for the Laughlin School.
I think that will be on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
Let me confirm that, but if it was not in the packet, it should be. No, that will be next month. My apologies for not catching that was still on the agenda.
Remind me though, but the tentative close date, if everything goes according to plan, is May for financing. If everything
goes in line as it's going currently, it will be mid to late April.
April. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I guess we're gonna move that to next month. With that being said, the manager and council reports and updates and council comments have been moved to after closed session, but actually, was that did we move to remove the post-closed session business as needed? So that's gonna be removed.
Yeah.
We're gonna remove that, and then we're gonna go right into closed session. Is that what I'm looking at here?
Yes.
We're going to close
And
session.
then we'll come back in and,
I think it was just moved to afterwards, but if you have no post-closed session business, you don't, I don't think you can take that off the agenda right now, since you've already approved the agenda.
We took it
Oh, you
off.
did take it off, okay. I didn't hear that in the motion.
So there is no,
Yeah.
wait, but there's a manager update though after this, right?
Yes,
this,
after
after
closed session.
okay, so we left that on there, okay. Do you,
I'll make the motion that we moved into closed session to consult with an attorney and to preserve the attorney-client privilege and/or to discuss real property acquisition and employment contracts and/or to discuss personal matters.
And Ms. Devaney, will you add to receive an update regarding current litigation
And to
related
And-
to,
to receive an update regarding current litigation
related to
related to,
the Dunham matters and the Whitaker Hall matters?
related to the Dunham matters and the Whitaker Hall matters.
is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now moving to closed session. guess,
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I'll make your motion that,
Can I say one thing? I'm sorry, we have another item on the agenda, manager updates.
Yeah, it's kind of.
They gotta come back
We
and
go
close.
back into closed session.
there we go.
Sorry, I thought you were adjourning.
no,
It's tempting.
I'm sorry.
Really is.
Wishful thinking.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we return to open session. And I would also like to confirm that we, abided by, I guess that's 10A, B, and C. Consult with an attorney, discuss real property, and discuss personnel matters.
And received litigation update on the current Dunham
And
Hall.
Hall and Whitaker, court cases.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, I will now go we are going to reconvene? Oh, yes.
Manager and council.
Yeah, reconvene manager and council reports. Yeah. We are reconvened, and we'll go to manager and council reports and updates and council comments. Who wants, I guess manager starts? You want to start?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, thank you. So a couple of things, the project dashboard's in front of you. There's really no major changes. Bandera's coming along. There was a little bit of setback due to the weather, but they're over there getting it done. I did have a question from the Mayor Pro Tem about the timber that they were cutting. Were we going to get the money off of that? No, that was not in the contracts. We're not going to get the money from that. But that was a question that I checked on. And they're making great progress over there. As y'all well know, the mayor and I live over on that side of town and go by there quite often. The trailer that's across the street that somebody's living in, that is the county. We have made a formal complaint to the county. I don't think it's going to be good to have a brand new beautiful park to have somebody living on the side of the right of way there, so.
Camper. Can you clarify that? That's permanent?
They're living in it and it's in the county. It's not in the town otherwise.
Okay, I thought that was some kind of work trailer.
No, sir.
That's what I thought it was.
No, sir.
Wow.
No, sir.
Okay.
It's a couple actually living in it. They've got lounge chairs and fire ring.
Wow, okay.
So-
I'm sorry to interrupt.
But
That's
there's
okay.
a house on the hill.
I know. They're living in the trailer. There's somebody living in that trailer. That's the long and short one to try and get
It's
it.
crazy, okay.
It is crazy.
I thought maybe it was a relative that
No,
was visiting.
no, there are people living in that trailer. It's not a temporary visit. There are people actually living there. So, the water tank, it's at 90%. They're doing permitting. We're starting the easement acquisition process to start contacting those 18 parcels. It's a couple of parcels have the same property owner, but it's 18 parcels. So that's moving forward. The A&Y, I think we flushed that out all the way around. Y'all got an update on those negotiations.
Is there anything that you can, of course, everybody's gone like I anticipated, but can you give us any update at all that is allowed to be given to the public on the ANY? And I know I said some stuff in the public comments earlier, but it'd be nice to have the manager give an update on, what the next steps are, particularly because I understand that, like I said earlier, it's going to be eminent domain. So if you would just at least be transparent with folks so that we know that that is coming.
The next steps are the same steps as last month, Mr. Hamilton, is we're going to continue to contact landowners and negotiate with them for easements, and the project's moving forward.
Well, I move that the town resolves not to sue Summerfield citizens under eminent domain to complete the ANY project.
Is there a second? The motion fails for lack of a second.
So let's talk trash for a minute. Last week, the staff did an incredible job answering the phones, trying to satisfy people's needs. Part of the challenge was that the call center for Republic was giving out different information than the regional vice president and the regional operations manager, which we were in touch with over the weekends and odd hours and stuff. I have their personal cell phone numbers. So that was part of the challenge. Staff suffered through that. The call center was saying one thing, the operations was saying another, and we're going to have an after action report on that. I will say that Leah and I did a tremendous amount of postings last week. I know that I got an email concerned about that. Here's a phenomenal statistic that will blow y'all away. We had over 10,000 views on our new Facebook last week. So I don't know how staff and I could have done a better job communicating to our public. Over 10,000 views. I'll say that again. So people are reading it whether they want to listen to it or not. And so, you know, I invited that person to come in and sit down with Leah and I and discuss their ideas, and hopefully they will. So we're doing what we can on that. I actually took a course on that, and we're doing some tweaks, doing some pictures and stuff, trying to drive more traffic. I will say also, as far as the staff, I don't know if y'all know this, a lot of the local governments were closed last week. We never closed. One of the plans was, when I became the manager here, is I got laptops for everybody. They took them home at my instruction, and we worked remotely every day. We were never closed. We may have physically been closed at town hall, but we're still answering phones. Our phones, the way they're set up is, it makes it look like we're sitting at town hall, and they were working at home. So kudos to the staff. Maintenance department came in every day. They cleared our parking lots. They put out salt. That saved us thousands of dollars. They cleared the trails out here even before people were walking, because we know people love this beautiful park. So staff's doing an incredible job, and if you see them, please love on them. I will say that the mayor and I, Councilman Stalls, will be at the Essentials of Local Government next Thursday and Friday. It's here in Greensboro. So we'll be out of pocket during the day if we're a little slow to respond for that. 2 weeks from today, I'm leaving the country. You're going to think I'm dead. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not answering emails. That's a week in between. So I'm going to come back the week before the actual regular meeting. So I will literally be out of the country in Punta Cana. And Justin will be holding the steering wheel. So, which I think he'll do a good job with. That's all the updates I have, but I'm
Do you have anything for the Founder's Day as far as, can you talk about Founder's Day a little bit as far as, or maybe, I know Lynn's on there with you, I know it's a manager's update and council update too, as far as the money that's needed for the projects?
We have a budget that we're working through, negotiating with the different vendors that we're using, like the rides vendors and the face characters and the bouncy houses and stuff like that. We have a budget. We would like to do more. That's why it's incumbent on members of that committee. They're out doing fundraising. We got a $500 donation yesterday from Duke Energy, which we had not gotten before. We had talked to Hank Henning, and he got that for us. You know, you've been challenged by the mayor to all become patrons. We're trying to capitalize on the patrons. If we get 100 couples in this town to give $150, that makes a world of difference. One thing that Founders Day Committee is really, really enthusiastic about this year is providing the rides free of charge, where kids don't have to buy tickets. That's going to drive a lot of people to our town. It's going to be a lot of people to our vendors, and it's going to make our festival grow even more.
But that's at a, excuse me for interrupting, but that's at a cost of $20,000.
That's half of our town budget. We only put 40 in as a town, so getting sponsors makes it even more, takes it to the next level.
So what I was going to suggest is, I mean, we have spent a lot of money on stuff in the past, and you know, hindsight is you know, you have the luxury of hindsight, looking back and saying that was a bad idea. You know, we spent, I think at one point, when I say we, I mean any council before me too, $300,000 I think at one point to look at a new town hall that had come to fruition. You know, we've just raised taxes for people. We spent tons of money on the de-annexation that we did not win, and you know, I think if we can take some of the money that we have in our own reserves and transfer $10,000 over, particularly since we got all this money from people, and actually just, instead of asking more of our community to give more and more money, let's use $10,000 that we have, put it into that, but you know, transfer it over in the budget for it. And I think Lynn even had some ideas about, what was it, Lynn, as far as people being able to use rides at no cost?
Well, that's what the manager was talking about. It's our 30th anniversary for Founders Day, and we would like to, as a thank you to the town, be able to have everybody ride all the rides for free. But the main bulk of the rides, that price tag is $20,000, and then you have the tickets, or you have the bouncy houses, which is another cost and another cost.
So given how much money we have, just shot out before for nothing and really don't have anything to show for it, I would suggest, or I move that we move $10,000 to the Founder's Day budget to allow them to use it as need be.
For what budget?
Or is that coming from the fund balance?
I mean, do you suggest?
It needs to come from the fund
Come from the
balance.
fund balance is what I'd say.
You don't need a motion, Hamilton.
All right, I move that we transfer $10,000 from the fund balance to the Founder's Day budget.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Is 10,000, where do we get with 10,000?
I think it's
I heard 20,000 earlier, but now we're only doing half, so where, is
Well-
10,000 enough?
You have, just the rides, there's 5 rides, which are like the Ferris wheels and the swings and those types of rides. That's 20,000. Then we have a great deal with a golf cart company, Mactron, and they do a donation, but they also charge us for some of the carts. Green Doe Buggies does some in-kind stuff as well, but we have to pay for the reptile center. It's a mobile reptile fun thing for kids. It was at Touch a Truck and they loved it, so we're bringing that back. We do the mobile game truck. That's another fee. Bouncy houses are separate from the actual rides. That's another fee. We have signage and t-shirts that we give to our supporters. So, and another thing that we would like to do, it's been kicked around, but it's not on the table because of funding, is since it's also the 250th anniversary of our nation, to perhaps get everybody who comes or order 1,000 flags or 2,000 flags with, that would be very, very small bit of the 200th anniversary, so they can wave them as the cars go down the parade line. But we can't do anything extra like that because by the time we get all of our rides, we're done.
So if 20,000 is our goal for no charge rides, my question is, where's the other 10,000 coming from?
Well, we have a budget of 40, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Y'all budgeted in the annual operating budget $40,000 for Founder's Day, but it takes more than $40,000 to do even what we did last year. And this year, we're trying to make this year better than next year. So we're really hyper-focused on getting sponsors and patrons. So that $10,000 additional will allow us to do some additional things that we've not been able to consider.
Or
Is the
possibly
10,000
cover things.
I guess to maybe a little more specific, will the 10,000 get us across the finish line to get no charge rides?
I believe so.
Yes. Another big ticket item is, it would definitely cover safety. Last year, safety with the officers was $7,000. So just being able to take care of a portion like that makes it so we can get everything done.
Thank you.
More discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of, transferring $10,000 from the fund balance to the Founder's Day event, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Congratulations.
Any other,
Thanks, John.
any other things?
I'll take any little victory I can.
I don't have any other updates unless y'all have questions for me.
I make a motion to resign.
Second.
Adjourn.
There we go.
I will
All those in
second your
favor,
motion.
all those in favor, adjourn.
I will second your motion.
All those in favor?
Did y'all do your council
Yep.
report? Okay.
Actually, the only place I went was the Freedom 250 at the Revolution Academy on January 21st. Is well attended, and Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy was there, and there was no food served to my disappointment. That's all. Now, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.